Unlike the detective stories in fiction which tell of individual policemen working in isolation, successful policing, in fact, relies on teamwork. The more serious the crime, the greater the number of people involved. Tonight's Crimewatch file features an investigation involving officers from 7 different UK police forces and Interpol, and eventually the Spanish police as well. But it wasn't until Crimewatch viewers came in on the case that the net began to close on a gang of armed and dangerous men. What you're about to see is a dramatic reconstruction of events. Some locations have been altered to protect security arrangements, and many of the victims' names have been changed.
Who's that? Oh, it's Pete. He's come to pick me up.
Shouldn't be long now.
Go on, it's cold. Go and wait in the car. It'll only be 5 to 10 minutes. It's Friday. Christmas dinner money day. Come on, pay up.
Oh, all right.
We'll have to keep up payments for them to come sell.
Suppose I ought to give them a call. Make sure we get a decent table.
Oh, that's nice. Who's that for? My nephew. It's his birthday.
You make a noise, you're gonna get it.
The whole experience seemed very much like a film. They made us all lie on the floor, got us all handcuffed and taped and quiet, told us not to look at them at all, and they just emptied the safes, took everything that was in there and disappeared out of the door with it into the night.
Shh.
It's police!
I had to crawl to the front of the shop with the handcuffs around my ankles to actually let the police into the shop.
What's happened?
We've been robbed.
How many of them?
Yeah, Whiskey 183 attending. ETA is 5 minutes. Can you ensure that static points are put on and that Hampshire are informed?
Yes, confirm, that's been done, over.
Whiskey 183, DS Banks and DC Spencer at the scene. On my way to the shop, I was aware that shotguns were involved, and I was very apprehensive as to what we would find when we got there. Hello, dear. I'm Monty Banks from the CID.
Hello.
Are you all right? You're a bit shaken up, aren't you?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. My initial concern was to contain the area and get to the robbers before they got away.
Whiskey 183 to KB. Confirm we are looking for 2 suspects armed with a sawn-off shotgun. Be aware suspects are armed and in possession of a large quantity of jewellery.
Shortly after my arrival at the shop, PC Garrett found a suspect lurking near where one of the jewellery boxes had been found.
Get off me! Arresting you on suspicion of robbery. You don't have to say anything unless you do so. What you do say can be given an evidence.
I ain't done nothing.
Do you understand?
What's this in your pocket?
More whiskey.
It became quickly apparent that this man was guilty of nothing more than having stolen a bottle of whiskey from Marks and Spencer's.
Good boy. Jack, I think we've got something here.
There's a shoe print here. They've gone over the wall.
Having realised that the offenders had escaped from the immediate area, we began the task of gathering what evidence we could find at the scene.
As they were leaving, the first man said to me, words to the effect of, keep your head down, I want you to stay here for half an hour. If you move, I'll be out there and you're going to get it.
Were you scared? Did you believe him?
Yes.
Carry on.
Well, when I looked at the safe, the jewellery had gone, and their jewellery trays were lying on the floor. Oh, also missing was the staff Christmas fund in a tin, and about £100, various denominations.
Anthony had been living in the flat above the shop, but that night he wouldn't stay up there, and he didn't ever go and live up there again.
I mean, what could I do? There's no doubt in my mind that they would have pulled that trigger and used that weapon if the safe and valuables had not been open for them.
Although we weren't actually physically hurt at all, the actual situation will never go away. You can never forget what happened. You're always listening for the creak of the floorboard or the swing of the light and the shadows moving.
Over the next few weeks, we carried out extensive inquiries, and I became more and more convinced that the robbers came from outside of the area. However, we had no firm suspects, and our best hope was that some of the stolen jewellery would turn up and lead us to the offenders.
Why does your dad always answer the door?
Oh, I don't know. Do you want something to eat?
Yeah.
What do you want? Oh. Thanks.
Mum, I'm going out. Community service. You be all right?
At the height of the Christmas shopping period, Surrey police were called to the main post office in Dorking. It looked as though the same team had struck again.
Mind your backs, please. Get out the way.
So right back, please. Right back.
It's okay, mate. We'll sort you out. You're going to be all right. Lift him up, Steve.
On three, stand. 3.
Let's get you sorted out, mate. This is going to hurt. Ready?
We're going to need bulb croppers for this.
Okay. Ambulance is here. It sounds like someone's making you a nice cup of tea, mate. Are you all right, love?
You all right there, Mr. Roberts?
The gunman had jumped 2 members of staff in the staff canteen. They tied Mr. Roberts up and left him on the floor with a gag over his mouth.
How's the lady they took downstairs?
The lady was my assistant manager, Rosemary. She was forced down the stairs with a gun in the small of her back. The first I knew of it was when I saw her at the door. And then the door suddenly opened and a figure, all in black, slid round it. I thought it was a postman playing a joke on us dressed up. So I said to him, "What in the hell do you think you're playing at?" And he waved the gun at me and said, "Shush, shush, shush, shush." I said, "Don't you shush me." The next thing I knew was that the door had opened again and Rosemary came in and went flying across the room. She'd been pushed from behind, and I noticed that she was handcuffed. And I thought, oh my God, this is an armed robbery. I was then ordered to lay down flat on my face on the floor, which I refused. I then had my hair pulled and my head pushed down to the floor. They then started pushing and pulling other female members of the staff. And I thought this bullying of the female staff was disgusting.
We're going to need the bulb croppers.
Okay.
The police, I feel, come in for a lot of criticism. And on the night of the robbery, they were kind, sensitive and considerate.
OK, I'm just going to check your pulse.
The ambulance men were also very helpful. They wouldn't leave the post office until they were sure that everybody there was fit and healthy.
These are the handcuffs that we used, and sticky tape from around the mouths and feet.
Right, Mick?
We've got some shoe prints on the roof. They're on a window ledge in bird repellent, a Reebok Extra Fit pattern.
Bob Miller, Regional Crime Squad. I was in the area, I heard the call, so I thought I'd come and see what you got.
Shortly after Christmas, Surrey had a second armed robbery on their hands. They contacted neighbouring forces and Operation Mackenzie was launched.
OK, Fred, have we got everybody here that should be here?
Everybody here. We've got Thames Valley, Metropolitan, Sussex Police, Warwickshire Police, and it's quite...
We were faced with a rough start to the new year. We had another armed raid at a bank in Leatherhead, and at the same time information was filtering through of similar offences in other force areas. We decided it was time to bring everyone together.
Thank you very much for coming along, gents. As you know, we're here to deal with a series of armed robberies, and if we can take them in sequence, Sergeant Banks, I would ask you to tell us about your job first.
We are dealing with an armed robbery at a jeweller's shop in Chichester. 2 men with a shotgun. The victims were taped and handcuffed.
We're looking at a robbery in the post office at Coulston by 3 men, 2 armed with sawn-off shotguns and 1 with a handgun.
We also think the same team did the gun shop in Coulston about 10 days later. They stole 16 handguns and we think 2 shotguns and a lot of ammunition.
Dorking post office. 2 men, 2 guns, victims taped and handcuffed. Looks like they've been in before and fixed the security.
We also have an attempt on a post office in Leamington Spa. Again, there are indications that they've been in previously.
Ours is an offence of armed robbery at a bank at Tadley. There were 2 offenders, both wearing balaclavas and in possession of handguns. There is evidence of pre-planning very similar to the offence at Dorking.
Which brings us back to the Leatherhead job, where staff were made to lie on the floor in a darkened room, and a 3rd person was sent in to guard them.
Sounds like your Bloxham job, Dave.
Yes, this happened around 5 months before the series we've just been hearing about. Very briefly, 2 female bank employees were taken hostage in their homes, bound and interrogated by 3 men. The younger one was taken to the bank where she worked, and the safe was emptied.
Any suspects?
Only one. He was on our files in connection with another post office raid in that same area. Nothing was proved in that case, but his description tallies with that given by the witnesses at Bloxham.
Do we have any names?
Matthew Chike.
Matthew Chike was already known to us in Surrey. He was on the run for jumping bail on 6 counts of burglary. Unfortunately, none of us had any idea where he was living.
Excuse me, do you have any houses to let?
No, I'm afraid we don't at the moment.
OK.
John, Welcomes Road. Oh, how much are you looking to pay?
Well, about £2 a month.
Steps up to hole. Gents, a moment for Christy O'Connor Jr. coming up. He putts and he misses.
Have you thought of maybe buying a house?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, with the sort of money you're looking to spend, you know, you could get something quite substantial.
Well, I'm waiting for the market to drop. In about a year's time, I'll be looking to buy something for around $500,000.
When I first met Matthew, I found him to be a very friendly, approachable, suave and sort of charming individual. And he was completely convincing as far as I was concerned. OK, ready to move out, 10 minutes.
OK, boss. We had found that the security at Leatherhead Post Office had been tampered with, and we suspected that the team had already been in. So we were assuming that it would only be a matter of time before they returned.
6 CS Yankee to OP1. Permission?
By now, the police were taking no risks. They staked out the entire town of Leatherhead in anticipation.
OP1, go ahead, Yankee.
Firearms team are going in now.
OP1, yes, OP1 to all units. Be aware, firearms team going in now.
Zero to all units. Advise when rehearsals are complete.
Bronze 1 to 0, read back. Rehearsals complete now.
Bronze 1, roger.
Romeo 2-0, read back. Rehearsals complete now.
Romeo 2, roger. 0, all units. Ambush set.
Put the money in the bag. Quick.
They struck. Unfortunately, it wasn't at Leatherhead. It was a bank at Caterham, one we hadn't got to.
You've got more money than this.
No, I haven't. I've emptied everything.
What about the cash point? What about that?
It's upstairs.
You move or make a noise, you're gonna get it.
Stand down. Stand down to Leatherhead Police Station.
OP1, yes, yes. OP1 to all units. It's a stand down to Leatherhead Police Station.
The next day, it happened again.
You think this is a joke? It's no joke. I'll shoot.
They've just done the bank at Hazelmere, Governor.
6 CS Yankee to OP1, permission. Hazelmere wasn't enough for them. They went back to Caterham to do the cash point on their way home.
Call the police! We've been robbed!
You're not going to believe this, Governor. They've just done the post office at Cobham.
Oh. 6 CS Yankee to OP1, permission.
OP1, go ahead, Yankee. The port one at Cobham. We're standing down here.
I don't believe this. What the hell's going on?
I have no idea. Well, this is getting worrying now. Let's go back to the Nick and see the DI.
The speed at which the team was now operating was causing concern for a number of reasons, not least of which was that we thought it wouldn't be long before one of the guns went off and someone was shot.
Lima Quebec 20, red Peugeot, onto High Street, driven by an IC3 male, index number Foxtrot 585, Oscar Lima Whiskey.
I've lost sight of the vehicle. Did you receive, over?
Wonder if that's these blokes Surrey have been after.
Sounds like it, Jimmy.
Thames Valley were on the alert for a man seen driving a stolen Peugeot near a high street bank in Ascot.
Hold up, Jimmy. That's the car there.
Police.
Don't put the cuffs on. Don't put the cuffs on.
It was a good arrest at the time, but it was even better when we found out who we'd actually arrested.
It was a great moment when we heard from Thames Valley that they'd arrested Stephen Chike, the 18-year-old brother of our suspect Matthew. But at the same time, it caused us considerable problems. It was very important that we got to the other two players before they had the opportunity to destroy evidence and go to ground.
Hello, Joan.
Hello, dear.
How are you?
Oh, nice to see you.
Let me take you shopping.
Oh, thank you.
See you later, Rob.
You are a dear.
Oh, no problem.
That's great. Thank you.
Done shopping on Wimbledon?
Yes, I have. Just to the shops, you know. Lovely.
Stephen, we have sent police officers to look at the address that you gave on your arrest at Seymour Road. Have you ever lived there?
No comment.
Has your brother Matthew ever lived there?
No comment.
You ever been to Stephen Chike's address? Yeah, the one in Seymour Road? No, I'm not happy. If you want to go in there, you're going to have to use a firearms team. OK. We'll wait here then. Yeah, we'll see you later. Bye. It's going to be a long night.
I'll need some fags then.
£5.70, please.
OK, cheers. Thank you very much. Oh, check this out.
£4.30 change.
Thank you. I'll have to get you a job in the bank, eh?
Yeah, why not?
Bye.
That's Chike!
We recognised Matthew Chike as we'd arrested him once before.
Priority, clear the air, 6CS84. We've just had Matthew Chike done a runner at West Hill Road.
Our inquiries revealed that Stephen and Matthew had been buying cars for large sums of cash and had given 2 South London addresses close to the address that Stephen had given on his arrest. Stephen, you gave an address at Montford Place. Does Matthew live at Montford Place?
From OP1, we have an IC1 male from the suspect premises. He's towards a red Seat Ibiza, index Delta 199, Foxtrot Sierra. He's away in the vehicle towards Seymour Road.
What's this then, Bob?
That's Chico's jacket.
Oh, anything in it? Tell us where he is.
Not that I could see. Lots of keys, Range Rover keys, and a paperback or something.
Someone's been having a nice read.
Having established the Range Rover was Matthew Chiquet's, and recognising the man emptying the vehicle as the suspect who had been followed from Montfort Place, we naturally thought that this must be our third man.
He's coming this way.
Time for the invisible pills in, right?
Well, he knows who we are, then.
Christ. Do you know there's no clubs in them golf bags?
I don't like the look of it. And I don't like the look of that dog.
We followed the man back to Montfort Place. We were looking basically to arrest him. In view of the fact that he may well have been armed, we suspected there was firearms in the premises, and he may in fact be in possession of a firearm. We were waiting for backup. But what brought matters to a head was simply the fact that he came out of the flat.
Stand by, the car's leaving the premises and he's got the dog with him.
Strike, strike, strike.
Please, stand still. What's going on?
Get your dog off my knee!
I can't. It's not my dog.
It was some 15 minutes or so before the dog was finally prized off my leg. And myself and my colleague, DC Pierce, who suffered quite serious injuries to his knee, were then taken to hospital.
Rob Jones was arrested and his house searched. His friend Matthew had been using his home as a postal address. It soon became apparent that Rob Jones himself was not actually involved in the robberies. Look, Stephen, let's go back to the beginning. You gave Thames Valley Police an address at Seymour Road. Have you ever lived there?
No comment.
0 to front and rear containment, Bronze 1 debussing, Seymour Road, now.
It was the wrong house, and the owner is very upset.
It had been a hell of a night and we were running out of time. Our last hope was an address on the Springfield estate at Clapham.
These trainers look about right, Mickey. And there's the bird repellent.
Mickey, you better bag this up.
What have we got?
The jackpot.
Governor, there's loads of money out here we found. Loads of it.
Altogether, we had recovered £126,000 in cash from the flat on the Springfield estate, and we identified the third person as being Mark Calvert.
We had in fact received information from the local police that Mr. Calvert's car was parked in Courland Grove.
So how's the rabies coming along then, John?
Getting stiffer all the time, mate.
Here he comes.
That's him. Stand by, targets at the vehicle. Driver's door open. He's in.
Engine started. He's off. He's got his tyre. His speed's increasing. He's approaching the junction. To the left. Give him one car behind him. Speed's still increasing. He's driving like a maniac. Left, in the slippery street. Speed increasing. 60. 70. He's approaching the lights. Lights are changing. Lights on red. He's not stopping. He's on the right. On the wrong side of the road. He's taking the bollards on the wrong side. He's putting away from the traffic car. We're never going to get him now.
If he carries on like that, he's going to kill himself.
My feelings when I saw Mr. Calvert roaring off into the distance, as it were, was somewhat disappointing, obviously. We wanted to arrest him quite badly, but I think it was the right decision taken at the time.
The teams had had a very rough night. they'd come within inches of catching our 2 prime suspects and lost them.
Look, we made the paper then.
Yeah, Terry wants you to go back up to Wandsworth and take the collar off the dog, John. He thinks it may have Matthew's address on it.
Right, gents, I know you've had a long day and I appreciate what you've done, but we've got to press on and try and find Matthew Chike.
Got 2 or 3 sightings of Matthew in the Kenley area, Gov, one involving a car chase.
Right, I want all the estate agents around the Kenley area checked.
I'll get on to that, Gov.
What about Stephen? He must know something.
There's something going on down there. Could be the builders. No, they've gone. What are you doing? What are you up to?
Stephen Chike had been trying to dig his way out of his cell.
Come on out.
Priorities estate agents.
Hello, this is DC John Blake from the Surrey Police at Reigate. Have you got a Matthew Bryce or a Matthew Brooks on your records?
It's the police. They want to know if we know of a Mr. Matthew Brooks or Bryce.
Well, there's Matthew Bryce at Welcomes Road.
We got him! Governor, Welcomes Road.
When the police called and asked about Matthew Bryce as we knew him, I was completely taken aback and amazed because, as far as we were concerned, he was a model tenant. And all his references had come back as being exemplary, and we had no reason to think there was anything suspicious about him whatsoever.
Seen this, Frank?
What you got there?
It's a gun.
You gotta get the governor out then.
Governor!
Gov?
What have you got, Andy?
It's a shotgun.
Has it been made safe?
Yeah, it's safe.
Can you pass it up? Thank you.
Andy, we've got the garage.
In the few months that Matthew lived opposite us in Welcomes Road, my 14-year-old son, Mark, developed a very genuine relationship with him. I had my doubts about this relationship, primarily on account of the age difference. Why should a young man of 21, 22 wanting to play and spend time with a 14-year-old? Of course, I never felt there was anything unwholesome in this relationship, but it was rather odd.
Let's go up to the golf course. Give the dog a run.
I'd better go and ask my dad. I'll be back in a sec.
Go on, then.
It seemed that Matthew had a dual personality, a kind of Jekyll and Hyde scenario. He owned this vicious dog that attacked Mark, and Mark had to be hospitalized for some time. Yet, when Mark came back from the hospital, Matthew was very kind to him, and he would come and sit with him and watch television and watch videos and bring him magazines. When the police came, it was a big shock to Mark's system, and it took him months to come to terms with the termination of this rather pathetic and sad relationship.
Hello, Gov. It's like Aladdin's cave in there. Satellite televisions in every room, hi-fi, motorbikes in the garage.
Where's your real evidence?
It looks like someone's had a good tidy up, Gov, but what we have got is we've got some jewellery in the Hoover bag, a shotgun we pulled out from underneath the floor, and stuck on top of the telly, this note.
That's good. Gives a clear indication that Matthew is involved. Well done, you boys.
The evidence was piling up, but there was nothing to tell us where Mark Calvert or Matthew might be found. With little more to work on, we decided to take the case to Crimewatch.
And in any case, with your help, some of them are already on the way to being solved, so don't have nightmares, do please. Sleep well.
Cut.
Good night.
Stand by and roller. Run roller.
40 seconds of music, 40 seconds.
We showed photos of Mark Calvert and Matthew Chike on the programme, appealing to anyone who might be able to tell us where to find them.
Here are your photos, Barry.
Oh,
Any
thank you.
calls?
A few, nothing positive as yet.
What about the incident room? Anything
I'm
there?
hoping we'll be able to contact later.
That's it, no work takes away. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. Thank you very much.
That night, one family in East Anglia who had been watching the programme were faced with one of the most painful decisions of their lives. Travelling on a plane to Malaga that same evening was their 19-year-old daughter. She was going to meet her boyfriend, a man they now recognised to be Matthew Chike. Matthew had only known their daughter a couple of months. Neither she nor they had any knowledge whatsoever of Matthew's criminal activities. The next day, they phoned the Surrey Police incident room, giving an address where they believed their daughter to be staying. Matthew Chike was arrested by the Spanish police at the same address 5 days later.
We sent officers out to Spain to assist in identifying Matthew, who had been travelling under a false identity. Unfortunately, he was released on bail in Spain 11 weeks later. Quite frankly, we were devastated. Given that he'd already jumped bail in England, we felt that it was highly unlikely that we would see him again. In our weakest moment, we felt that we had done a lot of hard graft for nothing.
It's my water pipes. My water pipes from the washing machine.
We received a tip-off that Matthew kept a safe at his friend Rob Jones' house.
Looks like new concrete down here, Gov.
Cool, I found the keyhole.
When we eventually found that safe, buried in the floor, we found that it had been opened, but the lock was intact.
Look at this bloody mess. You'll pay for this.
Keys we had found in Matthew's barber jacket fitted that lock.
Service diver. 5 bells, 5 bells.
OK, bring him in.
Once the safe had come to light, Mr. Jones decided to be a little more cooperative. He told us he hadn't known what Matthew kept in it, but his suspicions had been aroused when we questioned him. Soon after, he'd broken into it and found guns, handcuffs, ammunition, and bundles of cash. He disposed of the weapons in the river.
Are you sure that's them?
Yeah, I put them in the bag.
The cash he put in the bank. At his request, we arranged to take delivery of the cash on a local golf course.
He's walking in with the bags. He's coming from the left. He's going towards them.
All these findings were very important, as we needed as much evidence as possible to make sure the Spanish courts would accept our application for Matthew's extradition.
Whilst working on the extradition proceedings, another bird came home to roost.
Alongside Police Manchester, can I help you?
Yeah, look, I don't want to give my name, all right? Okay. I'm just ringing about that man you had on that Crimewatch programme a few months back.
Crimewatch?
Yeah, about those robberies down south. Well, he's at 19 Stanley Road, Whalley Range. His name's Mark.
I'll cover the back. Right.
Run into the house, Dave!
Please, open the door.
Dave, we're in!
Plainclothes police. Are you Mark?
Mark, when the last tape was ending, we were talking about an offence at Chichester. Do you wish at this stage to continue discussing your involvement in that offence?
Yeah.
Please fire away.
It's best if you ask the questions. I'm not too good at speaking to you.
OK, you're in the shop. Now, who tied up who? And what gun did you have on that one?
Shotgun.
A sawn-off?
Yeah, sawn off.
And where did it come from?
Stephen gave it to me. I weren't holding it. I was holding it some of the time, but I can't remember.
You never kept a gun?
No, never.
So where did the other guns come from?
Stephen had them. He just gave them to me. I never kept none.
And were you involved in the gunshot burglary?
No, I don't know nothing about that.
Mark, would you tell us if you were?
Yeah.
By the time we had finished interviewing Mark Calvert, he had confessed to most of the jobs. He even admitted to the robbery and kidnap at Bloxham. You're doing well. You've earned yourself a lot of credit.
So tell me, how much credit Stephen got then, huh?
Sorry, Mark. I'm not prepared to answer that.
Well over 100, innit? I bet he got over 100%.
By the time we had prepared the extradition case against Matthew Chike, we had 3,000 pages of evidence and over 1,500 exhibits. The cost of translating the extradition papers alone came to £20,000.
Gap pole to gap pole 01. 01, can you attend stand 140?
For aircraft is now on finals for stand 140. Did you receive?
Yeah, 01 now on stand.
It was 2.5 years, almost to the day, from the start of Operation Mackenzie to the time we eventually brought Matthew back from Spain. You'd think after all we'd been through, it would have felt like a triumph. The fact is, we were all too worn out to feel anything at all.
Between them, they stole over £1 million and brought fear and misery to 59 innocent victims.
If they'd have got away with it, I would have felt very bitter. The sheer audacity of it, the number of robberies, the number of people they'd hurt, frightened and bullied. And the fear that they might come back and do it again. I can't tell you how relieved and thankful we all were when we were told that they'd been caught and put away.
Matthew Ibekwe Chike was sentenced to 12.5 years. The prosecution case being that he had been the principal organiser.